Andy McNally with Evergreen Exteriors, going over the damage at 1125 nigh. So we're going to start off with the interior right here. As you can see, the whole wall is obviously kicked in. All these studs right here are torqued, and I'm sure everything with the cracking right here above this window is twisted, along with, we'd assume, the header at the top of the wall and the green plate down at the bottom. That's what I included in this, kind of assuming that we're going to have to replace all that framing over there. Next part I'm going to be looking at is going to be this section right here, the corner of the drywall, not drywall, excuse me, the corner of the stucco. So we've got, how we could tell this was a stucco aggregate system is the corner trim we have throughout right here and throughout the bottoms and around this vinyl over here. I originally thought it was a prefabbed aggregate system, but based off these pictures, we can tell it wasn't. Here's the vinyl you have in some areas. When I specified the information about the full reside bid with the option for the foam layover, you can see how this kind of sticks out by an inch on all three sides. That's how it would look with the new foam layover system. So around this side of the window and this side going up, it would stick out. We'd trim that inside edge so you wouldn't be able to see like raw wood or foam or anything like that. It would still have trim, sitting at a 90-degree angle like that, but it would stick out, protrude about an inch. Cruising around. This is that repair side, and this is why I don't want to get into some kind of aggregate repair on that singular wall. It's gonna look terrible. You're gonna hate us forever. It just is gonna be a bad answer for both of us. So I think switching over to an accent wall over there or something along those lines is where you're gonna have, the best bang for your buck and have a system that looks good, is functional, and isn't bringing down the value of the property. Here's a close-in of that same repair. But like I said, it's going to be really hard to match a aggregate from some quarry in the 80s, and that's been on the wall for 40 years. It's going to be nearly impossible. Cruising around the place again, showing off this side. Of course, for the full reside, I included all of these areas over here, all these little return walls, and these soffit sections up here. Not soffit per se, but the upper section of the wall above the windows. Here's a poll Gris showed me and here's the damage for showing what's going on inside the wall. Here's the area of the damage, and so when I say the accent wall, we'd be moving across this whole wall, across right here. I'll show you guys some better photos in a second. So right here for the accent wall, what I would do is go through all right here, and then all right here on these three sections on the front, and removing all this vinyl down below. The idea is we're trying to make it, look like it was natural, like nothing ever happened over there. On the reframing, this is where we saw the most of the damage. This is where you can see that cracking. Like I said, I'm sure we're going to be dealing with damage up in the top plate down here, up in the green plate down here, and I'm sure this whole window assembly over here is twisted, and it's going to have to be demoed all the way out to this corner over here so we can straighten everything up. Whenever these impacts happen, it always seems like it's minimal. Like seems like there's, big heavy damage in these sections and then minimal damage throughout the rest, but it's going to twist all the way throughout over here. And it's all going to have to be pulled off to reset it back to make sure the window opens and we're not, leaving damage behind. Another photo showing the same area. Another photo showing around that corner over there. Here's a underwall photo so you can see the stucco itself, the panel system. This isn't like traditional stucco where it's this exposed aggregate system where it's a 3-core system. This is going to be 2 heavy courses with the aggregate on top, and that's why you have these big heavy trims all the way around. It was very, very popular on commercial buildings in the 80s and 90s and some of the 70s, but it's very much gone out of style. You can see that cracking around the corner. So, this building's showing its age anyways. Keep in mind, here's more of those connection points underneath that stucco. And I keep calling it stucco, but the exposed aggregate panel system. When we tear this off, even though it looks like it'll be an easy tear off, like these panels will just pop off the wall, it's all going to be individually attached with the lat that you can see back there. So it's going to have to be cut out, and usually we do like 2-foot by 2-foot sections, and then remove that section and keep cutting around the building with a diamond tip blade. That's why it's such an expensive tear off. See, we're kind of cruising around, look at these trims. There's that mesh back there. That's what is going to be attached to the wall. You can see the tops of these soffits over here. These are the areas I was talking about that were included as well. And then you can see these little soffit vents down here. Wouldn't be a terrible idea with a reside to throw a new vented soffit in throughout this area. I think that looks like, I think we just have a couple little sections like that. Something we can toss in, not a big deal. But I'd really love to change those out to something else. Here we can see stucco popping back and a little bit of sheathing and trim right there. Cruise around, we have this gutter area right here. Stepping out of the walkway. And that's it for the pictures. Tanner McNally signing off.